You are listening to Pause. We pause for a second or two. This is episode 74 for the individual. This podcast, Pause, as well as the framework in itself, the Pause framework of emotional skills. Both of these are meant for the individual. This material is best learned by you as an individual. These skills, these emotional skills, are best utilized by you as an individual. Many situations in life can be done and are often done by us as a group. We are social beings. Life is, to a high degree, about cooperation, doing this together. But some moments in life, some situations, we must go through alone. When we are born, only we are going through that moment. We are the only one being born in that moment. And when we die, only we die. When I was born, only I was born. And when I die, only I die. Throughout life, we come upon situations when we must first accept the situation and then deal with it as individuals. Throughout my life, I have had great personal interest in learning about emotional skills, in learning about intangibles, in learning about the mechanisms behind how we navigate through life, how we make decisions, why we value some things and why we want to shun others. How this all works, this experience. What makes up our being. There are many different philosophies. There are many different practices. There are many different schools. There are many different cultures. And most of them address both individual and group mechanisms. But the emphasis is often on the group. And more often than not, the individual craftsmanship is I want to choose the right word here. Most often the individual craftsmanship is transformed midway by the group interests. We have all had experiences of maybe listening to a record or watching a movie by ourselves, or reading a book by ourselves. And then we start talking with someone else about it. And we can feel how we are changing our views. We are negotiating our views of the movie or the record or the book mid-conversation with this other party. Pausing this framework, the pause framework, this podcast, the pause podcast. All of these are different ways of returning by pausing, returning to ourselves as individuals. So I read the book and I think something about it. And then I talk to my friend about it. And mid-conversation, I can feel how my views of this book are changing somewhat. I'm negotiating my own views. And then I pause. I pause for a second or two. You pause for a second or two. And return to what I really felt. What you really felt. We pause so that we may keep, so we may maintain this interesting tension between us. We pause, maintain our individuality, so that we may keep this interesting tension between what I think and what you think. And in that interesting tension between my individuality and your individuality, we come closer to what the book is really about. Today's episode is called For the Individual, and this is my message to you. Pausing is for the individual. You are not supposed to become me. You don't even have to like me. There is this healthy tension. There is this very potent individuality. What is interesting in life is you. What is interesting is me. And what we can do together as individuals, as regularly, frequently pausing individuals, is much more interesting than what we can do if we do not pause. If we just blend into each other. We will not get as far together if we become one another. We will, however, get far when we aspire to maintain our core, your core and my core. Sometimes in our everyday life we come across this person, could be anyone. We come across this person who just pause for a moment and look us straight in the eye. Sometimes this feels uncomfortable. Sometimes this feels exciting. Sometimes this feels threatening. When someone just out of the blue pauses and meets with us. This is always interesting. There is tension there. There is traction there. There is symmetry there. We can do so much with this healthy tension. We can do so much when we maintain our individuality. Individuality, the individual, is a term that has been quite confused right now. Individuality is a term that is used about a lot of things. But true individuality is this sense of pausing and looking each other in the eye and experiencing the symmetrical tension that comes from that. It's not even unique for humans. You can come across a bird who just pauses and looks you straight in the eye. You can come across a dog or a cat. They just naturally pause and meet with you. They have a physical, honest meeting with you. And they look you straight in the eye because they are curious. They need to know who you are, what you are about, and what you can do together. They need to know if you're a threat. They need to know if something acute, something sudden is in the air. We need to know this as well. Pausing is something we do, is something we develop because we need it. It's good for us. It makes us powerful. I pause because from that standpoint, from that foundation of pausing, I can meet with anyone. Pausing is for the individual, by the individual. The aspiration is to create a framework and a library of sorts, of emotional skills, of perspectives, of experiences, of meetings, where we as individuals, you as an individual, pause and make your decision on where you need to go, where you want to go, where you must go. You and me will get far when you pause and look me in the eye, and I pause and look you in the eye. The tension between us is our raw material. The traction between us is our raw material. And most situations, most emotionally difficult situations can be utilized using this pausing and traction. That's it for today. Thank you.